Hello patrons, what's up? Alright, I put out a thing a while ago, but nobody's asked me anything yet, because I was going to do an Ask Me Anything video on here. No holds barred, ask me anything you want. It could be literally anything. I'm not going to be offended by zero, nothing, nada. You could ask me if I thought Nazis were cool. Answer, of course. Have you seen the outfits? They're pretty groovy. No, I'm kidding. So, as you know, I like to put videos on here that have more controversial content. Thus could get me in trouble on YouTube and kicked off, so I put them here for you guys. And I have the most... ever since I've moved to where I've moved to, where I moved to is an expensive town. I cannot get a good buzz cut there for under like $75 for some reason or something like that. So I've had to move around a lot to different... I just go to whatever chain's available, like hair cuttery, supercuts, whatever's available, I do. I have met the most interesting people. I already told you about the Asian woman who yelled at me for, because I made the mistake of touching. She goes, "What number you want?" on my head. I was like, "Oh, it's a 0 with no guard, and then it's just blended on the top." You have a guard! Why you not have a guard? You know why you never, no, you have a guard because you burn in your hair. Make scar in your hair. You don't want that. No, and you keep 2 on top. You keep 2 on top. There's nature way because there's oils. There's oils that can come in your hair from the environment, from everything, make a pimple. Make it very bad for you. So no guard. No guard, 2. And then she put me in the SS camp, and, you know, I was, you know, taken to the gas chamber with the rest of the people. I was like, I've met so many interesting people. Last guy, because there's the thing, you can click on the app to go there, but I don't like to do that. But I have been, so I'll click a stylist and I'll click any, because there's certain stylists you could choose from. I really don't give that much of a fuck. I do not have luxurious long mane of hair that needs taken care of, so whatever. So I had last time I had a guy who, like, I'm sure was a serial killer, barely spoke and just stared at me like this the whole time. What number? What are we doing for you today? 0 here. Blend on top. And number 2, 1.5. Would you like your goatee trimmed? I could trim your goatee for you. Would you like your goatee trimmed? It would be even. That kind of shit. But today, I don't know. This girl was cool, but she's completely unhinged. You know, she's one of these chicks. She was just kind of standing there. She looked, I couldn't tell at first, and I knew I was going to get her. I always get the one who looks like they have an attitude. This chick, she's about, oh, she actually told me she's 32 years old. She looked a lot younger, you know, so shout out to her. Tats, all that, orange hair, and just over it. Over the day already. I'm like, that's the one I'm going to get. That's the one right there. And sure enough, it's like, I can take you now. What are we doing for you today? So I told her, and, you know, she was actually very good. She gave me a good cut. I liked it. I have no problems with her. And then I was just, you know, we're making conversation, everything like that. She's like, so, like, what are you doing for Mother's Day? Like, doing, like, one of these numbers, and I'm like, of course, digging around in the backyard, putting mud all over my naked body, and singing the national anthem in Greek backwards like I always do. No, but I was just kind of like, I'm like, what's that? Like, my mother's dead. She's like, yeah. I never know what to ask people, because it's like, you know, your parents could totally be dead, and then it would bum you out, and you might go home and, like, want to kill yourself. Oh, this is going to be a good conversation already. Now, she had a bunch of piercings. She had the piercings that, the long, you know, the hoopy ears, where, you know, you could just drag a motherfucker. You know, like, it looks like just a long, big stretched earlobes, which I have never gotten. I get piercings if you're in, like, a rock and roll lifestyle, or you're a rock and roll lifestyle. I'm such a fucking Gen Xer. Whatever. Like, the eyebrow piercing, not my favorite. Don't like looking at it. Your nose, whatever. Ears, fine. Where is the borderline between just wanting to express yourself and this person has a problem? Again, I have to go back to this. If somebody was walking down the street, or told a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, whoever, told an authority figure, you know, well, you know, when I get home, I cut myself. Just in the shape of a star every night with a dull razor. And I just watch myself bleed. Yeah, that's what I do. They would take them away. you would be held up for 72 hours for a lockup to see if you're, because that's mentally unwell. So this girl proceeds to tell me, I'm like, oh, I see you got a lot of piercing. Yeah, I see my gauges. I'm like, how long did it take to get that big? She's like, started when I was like 18, stretching them out. And then like I'm 32 now, so whatever that is. Yeah, it's kind of like that. And I'm like, I have a really dumb question, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. I'm like, if you take those big like fucking tire size things out of your ear, will it go back to normal? And this is when it started to get interesting. She goes, no, my earlobes will never go back to normal, although there's a procedure for that. And I found out there were procedures for lots of shit that there shouldn't be and I didn't know about. She's like, I'm like, well, how would they do that? she's like, so you go to a body modification artist, and it's like, you know, it's just stupid. Like, they should be like medically like trained because they're doing important stuff. But anyways, you get your ear, like this part of, you basically get it yanked back up, sewed back together, and then, you know, but most times people end up putting the stretchy ear thing back after they've had their earlobe looking kind of semi-normal again. What I'm trying to wait for right now is to get my ears pointed, but my body modification artist says I can't do that. A lot to take in. I'm like, what do you mean your ears pointed? My ears pointed, kind of like, you know, like a fairy, because I think it'd be like really cool. And then I'm gonna get studs inside where it's like a punch hole. Do you know what a punch hole is? It's like, you know, when you punch cards, like like here, example, like, you know, 6-1 free haircut, woo! But no, like 6-1 free punch in my head. I'm like, okay. And then like eventually, I'm totally gonna get my tongue split. This is where we start to raise alarm bells. This is where I start to know you were a cutter. You smoked in high school a lot. You listened to goth/emo bands. Oh, that was the other thing she said. I said, so are you doing anything fun for the weekend? Because she asked me. And she's like, I'm going to see punk folk music. What? Punk folk? I can name the bands, but you probably never heard of them before. Like, the most famous one you probably would know. Mountain Deer Piss? No, I don't know that. Okay. Well, yeah, anyway. I'm like, do you think, I'm interviewing her at this point because I'm fascinated by her. I'm like, so you want to get like elf ears, right? Okay, fine, your face, you do what you want. I said, she had like a double nose piercing, one that went in here and one that went, what is this, the septum or whatever. And I'm like, did they hurt? It's a needle going in your skin. Yeah, it hurts. But I have like a really high pain tolerance, so it didn't matter. I mean, they did this, but I definitely want my tongue split. But yeah, I know it's not a big deal. I mean, like, I totally have a high pain tolerance. I'm like, is there anything you wouldn't do? Because then she started talking about she wants to get, there's body modifications where you can get shit put under your skin, like say a circle, so it looks like you have a circle under your hand. And like, I want one with a heart one though, because that, you know, a heart thing, a heart mutilation underneath would look really pretty. And then scarification, I'm definitely gonna get. I actually did. What's that? And then she goes, well, what do you think it is? I'm like, well, going by scarification, somebody brands you with something, like burns you, like the shape of the moon, and then that's the scar, and that's what you, it's like, it's branding or something like that. Okay, no, not really. See, what they do is they slice you open like really, really deep, you know, like say if you want a star or a moon or a picture of Abraham Lincoln and you don't know why, and you just put it like, you just dig it out, right? And then you bleed out, and then like it heals into a white line, you know, it looks like a scar, and then that scar is a picture. Did you put the clippers down? I'm afraid of her now. Somebody get me somebody else. So then I was like, do you think there's any, honestly, do you think there's any piercings or whatever that have gone too far, or you're just like, this is insane? She's like, I don't know if I'm such a fan of the people getting their limbs taken off. Stop the record. Stop the what? Stop. Cut the music in this bitch, because I need to hear this. What? I said, what? Yeah, people get their like limbs taken off like all the time. It's pretty actually common, more common than you would think. People get their arms taken off, their legs taken off, or whatever taken off. She's like, I've seen some really gnarly shit. I'm like, but you wouldn't do that? No, because I kind of like to walk and have my limbs. I mean, like, you know, I guess I'm not cool enough, whatever. And then I'm like looking at her, I'm like, where would one get this done? And she's like, a body modification specialist. I mean, of course they're not licensed because the state won't let them be. Yeah, because it's a maniac who's supposed to just do tattoos, who now has a saw and is going to cut your legs off for $50 and leaves you to bleeding to death in a fucking alley like you're a woman who had a fucking illegal abortion with a coat hanger in 1930. What is happening? What is happening? And so I'm like, well, don't you have to be in like a hospital or something like that? It could be infections and this sort of shit that needs to be treated. You don't have to be in a hospital. You just have to be somewhere where somebody watches you. Like, somebody medically kind of trains them. Like, you do get general anesthesia, so they kind of do know what they're doing. No, they don't. No, they don't. Unless they've gone to pre-med in college, med school, then done 20,000 years of residency. They do not do... And why would you choose to chop off limbs? How are you that bored? How are you that bored? She goes, yeah, I mean, that is kind of gnarly. Yeah, it's kind of gnarly. Totally gnarly. And then she's like, or the eyeball thing. I'm like, I know what that is, but go ahead. She's like, well, you know how it always looks like they dye their eyeball? Not really. I mean, they just inject it. I've thought about doing it before because I've heard that the eyeball doesn't really have much nerves in it, so you really wouldn't feel it. Like, I'm pretty sure I could have asked this chick, you know what? I could have told this chick, hey, what am I doing this weekend? Oh, no, since I don't have parents or anything like that, I'm getting my 2 big toes taken off, amputated by a body modification guy, of course, you know, because I know someone, they know what they're doing. And I'm going to get one put on my forehead and an extra one put on my balls, right on my ball sack in the middle. So it'll kind of be like a prank when I'm like fucking somebody, pull it down. They're like, oh my God, you have 2 penises. Like, not really. That's just my other toe that I had amputated and put on here by a body modification specialist. What is mental illness now? What is it? What is it classified? I'm lost. Let me know if you've heard of any of these things below, because I'm still limbs taken off. I don't even know. Today, if you had a gun to my head and said, you have to go, Jay, and find out where you can get your fucking right arm taken off, I guess I would go to several different piercing places and go, do you know where the crazy underground chop shop is? What if I wanted a baby sewn to me? What about that? Like a live baby? Nah, that'd be wrong. Except like killing a baby or something like that. People have too much freedom and shit has gone too far. That's just what it comes down to. Once again, though, if you get to the end of this and you see this, do and ask me anything. Write comments. I'm collecting, or you can DM me on here, whatever. Write me a question you've always wanted to know, or something you think would you want my opinion on, but anything about my personal life, anything.